And we're live. Welcome back, Shifties. Welcome back to Shift the Journey. Whoa, season 3 premiere.
Woo woo! Kick it
Man,
off.
I can't even believe it. I mean, I was just talking about how every year I'm going through a list of like who would want to be on this show, and then like sending out feelers, and sometimes people don't even respond. I can see that you read it. Just so you
Yeah.
know, I can see that you read my message, and they're
Mhm.
like, "Ooh, no." And it's like, oh, that's on me because I should have known you well enough to know that you'd be like, oh no. but
Yeah.
I'm excited for season 3.
Nice.
It's
That's cool.
been crazy. Just like kind of learning my way into, because not everybody who I have interviewed have been like personal friends of mine. For
Mhm.
instance, our guest tonight, we were just trying to figure out in the studio where we met, and it was
Facts.
probably on a comment or something. And who knows, on LinkedIn comment or LinkedIn post, or I don't know. He said he was stalking me, so
Yeah,
whatever.
stocking the show. Matter of fact, trying
Yeah,
to lay early breadcrumbs to get on here. I guess it worked.
yeah. Hey, I guess. Hey, sometimes stalking works. Don't take that to the bank.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah, I gotta edit that one out for the
yeah,
show post. No.
no editing, man. We just go live and we just talk and
I
we just
love
have a
it.
conversation. But
Absolutely.
if anybody out there is new, you never seen this show, it's like, what is this? Well, it's just two people talking about mostly one person's career journey. Uh, when I retired from the Air Force in 2015, I served 20 years, and
Impressive.
my
Impressive.
last job was an analytics job. And I said, you know what, I want to do that. But we moved from Mississippi to Nashville, and I didn't have a network, didn't really know anything about the corporate world, and so there was a lot of bumps and bruises along the way. Let me tell you, and it would have been great if I had had like just two or three veterans who had been through the whole thing to kind of help me just get through the transition. And I found along the way that there are people who are not even veterans who like started in one industry and decided, you know what, I want to go into another industry. I don't know how I'm going to do it. Let me talk to some people. And so it's
Yeah.
so much easier to walk a trail that somebody's already blazed. It's so
Mm.
much easier to walk side by side with somebody when you're going into the unknown, when that person has been there. And so my favorite thing to do is to help people and tell stories along the way. And so that's what we're doing here on Shift the Journey. And first off, we have our guest. Our guest, season 3 premiere guest, is Jeremy Gilliland. God,
Yes, sir.
it doesn't roll off the tongue like it should. Gilliland. There you go.
Gililano rolled way better,
Gilliland.
right?
We
It's
go
a
with
private
Gilliland. That's
joke. Yeah,
fine.
we'll save that one. That's a private joke between you and I. But no, I'm excited. First of all, thanks just for the invitation, right? I greatly appreciate what you're doing. You going out there and kind of being a trailblazer, setting the tone for sharing these veteran stories and these transition stories, war stories in their own right, right? And I don't
Yeah.
think that everybody has necessarily an easy transition. I can't wait to dive into mine because maybe it'll resonate. And I think that's my main point in wanting to come in here and support you and as well. So first of all, thank you for the invitation, and a even heartier thank you for all of those years of service. That's commendable. Decades and decades of service to the country. So thank you so much for what you do. What you've done. That's amazing as well.
All right, so let's dive in, man.
Yeah.
I'm curious, like your accent. I'm usually pretty good. You can tell like where people are from. People have a hard time with me because I spent like where I was born and raised versus the amount of time that I've spent in the South.
Hmm.
People are confused about my accent, but I want to
Yeah.
know, where are you from originally?
Okay, so I grew up in a town with a population of less than 2,000 on the border of Oklahoma and Kansas called Caney, Kansas. Very small, very poor, a cowboy town. Spent a lot of my times in the summer hauling hay.
No, I would not have guessed that. I'm like completely in the wrong place. I was thinking somewhere
Where's a
in the
guess?
Northeast. Somewhere in the
Okay,
Northeast.
okay.
It's got to be. What?
It's the military. I get that. I've got
Oh
that
yeah.
throughout my entire military career. I move, and the melting pot. I have this crazy situation where I PCSed around 17 times, and I was only in for around a decade. Right, a decade. Yeah, so it's insane. Like, if you do the math, it's like less than 7 years a move. Less than 7 months. Sorry, 7 months, and I'm moving somewhere.
That's crazy.
But every time I got to a new duty station, people would ask me like, "Where are you from?" And they would try to guess, and it never. They always got to like, dude, I can't tell like where you sound from. You sound like you're. But a lot of the people do say like northeast, but not
Yeah.
Kansas. I don't know. I don't know where it came from. I think it's just a really weird a hodgepodge of military talk and
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's a
and
military
how
accent.
it forms together and your
Oh
jargon
yeah.
talk and the way it
Oh
comes out
yeah.
now in civilian speak, if you will. So
Yeah.
Kansas.
You don't sound like anybody I've ever known from Kansas or Oklahoma,
Mm.
but you do sound
Take that
like
as a
some
compliment. I don't know
people.
if that's
You
bad.
sound
Don't
like some
judge.
people that I was in the military with, and
There we
like
go. Yeah, yeah.
you know, when I was in basic, half of my basic training flight, it was like 70 of us. Half
Mm-hmm.
of us were from the West Coast, and the other half were from the South. And
Mm-hmm.
halfway through, the West Coast guys were saying y'all, and the Southern guys were saying, dude,
That's
dude.
funny. Yeah, right. See, so that's it. That's it. That's what I am. That's what my accent is a perfect story to bookend that whole what do you sound like? Because I agree with that sentiment. And I think that's where it came from. How I piece the words together and how I say them and how they resonate. But yeah, no, true
Yeah.
story there.
Yeah, that's funny,
Yeah.
man.
I love that.
Man, somebody just put something in the chat, and
Mhm.
I told you that I forget to tell people, hey, everybody who's out there watching, if you want to talk to us, join the conversation. Put something in the chat,
This is
or put
live,
something
not
in the
recorded.
this is live, not recorded. Just put something in the comments, and this is actually off topic from what we're doing, but it's a thank you, Pastor Carlos. I'm
Oh, nice.
planning to
Worship
go
conference.
on a mission trip to Belize in March.
Wow, that's cool.
And
And
to
see
help lead
Belize. Oh
a
wow, that's so
worship
cool.
conference. So yeah, awesome. Anyway, enough about me. I get all nervous because I'm like, bro, I'm supposed to be doing the interview here. So I'm gonna interview you. And so you,
Yeah.
as you were growing up, did you have somebody in your life who was a like a role model, like, hey, I want to join the military because of this person?
Yeah, no, I really didn't. That's a good question. It's funny because I was gonna join in what that was called the Battle Buddy program. The Army had this program where if you join, they guaranteed you basic AIT in your first duty station together.
Yeah.
And I played a lot of sports. I actually had a college scholarship for track after only doing it 1 year. But I played a lot of sports, and again, wasn't saying much as a small town in Kansas. But either way, I had a little scholarship. But 9/11 happened, right? So I went and signed up. I was a junior and I signed up. But no, I didn't. There was nobody that really I looked up to. To be honest, I just wanted to get the hell out. I grew up. My real father was abusive. He beat me and my mother, and then my stepdad, he beat me and my sisters. So it
Mm,
wasn't like I was in a great situation at home. You know what I'm saying? Just to
yeah.
be honest and transparent. And I think that I just wanted to get away, right? My sister
Yeah.
had ran away, and I was like, there's got to be more than Caney, Kansas. So the war happened, and I was like, hey, nobody gonna fly buildings into the Twin Towers and get away with it. So you signed me up. So my
Yeah.
buddy ended up not going. I ended up saying the hell with it, and I went anyway.
Yeah.
But no, I mean to answer your question directly, like I didn't really necessarily have, a good role model or any example, which is another reason why I like what you're doing, right? I think that there's a big lack of men in some of that space, right? Sharing some
Mm,
of that wisdom, and it's having an impact on society as a whole. So, yeah, no, that's I want to be honest, and I told that about myself when I came on here. I shared some of this stuff before online, but that's the truth in it. It's not necessarily that everybody has that great role model or example to look up to.
yeah. Yeah. Definitely. I think just as a like as a whole, men, in our culture are expected to like not really show our feelings, right? And
Oh, dude, nailed it,
so
nailed it. Yeah.
and I'm I'm a musician. I'm sensitive. What do you want
Yeah.
from me? I'm putting that out there. Hey, this is
Yeah,
live.
yeah.
It's fine.
No, it's true. It's
Everybody
true.
who's ever gone to church with me has seen me cry.
Yeah, there we go.
Like
There we
while I'm
go.
talking, while I'm leading worship, whatever.
Yep.
But so you went off, you joined the Army.
Mm-hmm.
And I almost said Air Force because I know every time. Don't say
I
that.
wish I did. I made a horrible decision. If you're a young man and you're watching this video and you're thinking about joining the Army, turn around and go join the Air Force. I'll tell you, I was in Korea, my first duty station. Quick side note, I was in Korea, my first duty station, and we were they would ring those sirens, and we would get into some field, probably be like 3 a.m, and we're going to the cage, loading our gear to go to the field for like 30 days. And I remember we're packing the trucks up, and the Air Force and the barracks would be like peeking out, they'd be looking out the window, like, what the hell is the commotion? And we would be rolling out to the field. And I would come back a month later, and they would be in civilian clothes at the barbecue, like cooking steaks. Hey, how's it going, Gilliland? And they would welcome us back. So I'm telling you, if you hear this, go sign up for the Air Force. Don't do the Army is great. It's good. It'll teach you a lot, but join the Air Force. No, that's
the one I always get is like people say, "Oh, what branch are you?" And I said Air Force, and they're like, "Oh, you guys had air-conditioned tents in the desert." I said, "Listen, I didn't tell you to go sleep in the dirt. I mean, if you wanted air-conditioned tents, you could have gotten to the Air Force recruiter too, you know."
Hey man, there you go. Facts. Hey man, some of these people out there roughing it, some people aren't. That's life.
That's just life. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there are a select few in the Air Force who also sleep in the dirt, but then they also, have the barbecues and civilian clothes.
Yeah, hey, same with the Army, right? The Army signal, right? We had shelters, and they were like, you're tied to like Seaflick or somewhere else like that with the general, the command team. Like, you got nice air conditioned tents, and you had shelters that had AC too. So it was good with those units. So yeah, I feel you. Sometimes you just gotta know the right spots.
Yeah, exactly. So when you went in, what was your job?
So I joined. I was in a Signal. I joined as a Signal 25 Fox. I think they changed like a 31. They did a whole reclass. We worked on like big LOS, like sit trailers. It's basically they were different. I mean, depending on the unit, right? So I get out of AIT, which was in Augusta, Georgia. Air Force has their signal training or communications or telecommunications training in Georgia too. We used to march around and see them. Man, they were so clean with their marching, and they were, dude. I remember how disciplined they were, bro. Training, man, they shit on us. Fort Gordon in Georgia. Yeah. They shit on us when we were marching. I don't care if it's 2 a.m. and those guys are marching in their class uniforms. They look great. But anyway, I digress. I was trying to got a little sidetracked, but went to AIT there. First duty station was in Korea in 2ID, part of that place where I was talking about. They would ring the alarm, and we had like little shelters, right? We would do like radio, like LOS, line of sight communications, and we could pass, radio, telephone, even internet through those, and we would have different systems, and we would encrypt them essentially. And we just have shelters, right? We had some of them that were real fancy called tri-bands, where you had literally a Humvee with a satellite on the back of it, and you could park that thing anywhere in the world, and get internet and phone, predator feed, depending on what you were doing.
Yeah.
So a lot of crazy stuff. So that was my initial sort of experience in the military, right? I got in, and after 2 deployments, I was like, man, Signal might have not been the right MOS. These guys are just deploying nonstop. Because I look back, 04, 05, 06, 07, 08. All 5 of those years, I spent at least 1 month boots on ground deployed during this period. And so got kind of crazy. I was going to get out, right? I was going to get out. Here's where the mentor part that you mentioned finally comes in. We were forward deployed, so I was attached to a unit that wasn't even my unit, right? It was just another unit. We had one comms team forward deployed attached to this whole company. So they didn't really care about us. We were just kind of random people in their platoon. But it was coming time for my enlistment, and I was stop loss at this point. I had been stop loss, stop movement. So I was supposed to get out, and I was looking forward to ETSing. I'm like, I had to hell with all this deployment. Oh, it's fun, but it's not even fun. So let's not do this.
Mm.
But they stop lost me. And so I really wanted to get out, but I had a mentor kind of pull me aside, and he was real with me. He was like, Gilliland, how much money do you have saved up? And I was like, I don't have any money, Sergeant. I got no. He's like, how much college do you have? You got college? I'm like, no, I don't have any degree yet. And he's like, you signed up, right? You're ready. You're going to start college when you get out. And I know I haven't signed up yet. He's like, you got a job lined up? And I was like, no, I don't have a job lined up yet. You got a place to live? And I was like, no, I don't, Sergeant. I don't have a place to live. And he said, we'll give the family friendly version. This is not what Sarge said, but give you a family friendly version of what Sarge said. He said, so you're telling me you've been in the Army for 4 to 5 years now, and the Army's, hitting you with a paddle while you're bending over, giving you paddle, whooping your butt, and you're just going to get out? And they got everything they wanted out of you, and you're just going to get out. And he said, I get it that signal and all this stuff might not be your cup of tea. Maybe it's not what you want to do, but there's a lot of stuff in the Army. And he said, don't take my word for it. He's like, I'm not getting any bonus because you stay in. You're not even in my platoon. He's like, but I just hate. He's like, I've been in long enough to get out, see people get out and struggle. He said, I like you, Gilliland. I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna, I'm gonna kick it to you straight. I'm just keep man to man. And he asked me those questions, and I realized that I didn't. And I was on a 15-month deployment, and so I had a little bit of time to think about that stop loss. So I did. I came up with like a 3 to 5 year plan on what I needed to do and get done. But that was sort of my, first swing. And I loved it. If you had any questions or thoughts about that, meeting my real first mentor as a growing man.
Yeah. What? Who's this guy?
Frank, sir. Frank is the man. He is a world-class connector known all around the globe. Intelligent automation, entrepreneur, big brain. He deserves to be in anybody's think tank if you're trying to make global stuff happen. He's incredible. Incredible.
We're gonna have to connect, Frank. Give me a connection. Yeah, and Pastor Carlos, wow, he served 22 years in his country.
Wow, thank you, sir. Thank you, Carlos, for your service. That is amazing. Wow. That is amazing. That's amazing.
So what was the degree plan that you decided to, head toward?
So what I decided to do was I thought that if I wanted to make the military career, if I wanted to actually do it, that first of all, I needed to get out of the enlisted side. I don't know why that was in my brain. I said I need to become an officer. So I was like, how do I do that? So while I was deployed, I had a lot of time to do research, and I found this program called Green to Gold. And I was like, okay. So I looked up the requirements on that same deployment, and I looked up what was needed to get into that program. And I basically, I noticed I needed to have an associate's degree. I needed to be able to finish my bachelor's in under 2 years. I had to have certain rank and all of these things. And so I had the minimum requirements, but I also had a forum that was online that people were chatting on. So I knew I needed to be competitive as well. So I basically created like a 3-year strategy, and it involved me getting out of Signal. So I basically made a career switch that allowed me an opportunity to blaze a path to becoming an officer.
So I've seen people do like where they're going to school while they're active duty. Other people I've seen like they do like a reserve commitment or like what was that one called?
Shout out Mike Peters. He did that. My buddies reserve.
There was one called Bootstrap. And like you would go full time to school, and whatever service commitment you had left, they would double it, and that would be you get your commission as that.
Yeah. And, ours was I got so lucky. Yo, Doug, what's good, sir? Let's get another world-class intelligent automation guy, AI guy. He's got an amazing podcast that he does.
Hey, send me a connection.
Yeah, no, it's so with the military for us, it was something similar, but I got super lucky. I was a Green to Gold active duty option scholarship award winner. So basically what this meant is that I stayed on active duty. I was just I was a sergeant at the time, but I stayed on active duty, and they attached me to a unit in Fort Jackson just as an attachment, and I went to my school, the one I got selected to. So I got into UTSA in San Antonio, here
Okay,
where
yeah.
I live now, and I got into Ohio State, and I got into some other university too, but the one here gave me the best credits. It was going to be the easiest way to
Oh
get
yeah.
my bachelor's.
So
So
you're a road runner?
yes, 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 yes. So it was my wife actually. That's where we met. But yeah, so I got to keep my full-time active duty pay, and then they just went to school. I was assigned to
Nice.
Fort Jackson, and then I went to the unit, showed up to RTC for 2 years. I just went to school. That was my job. I got to use the GI Bill while I was going too, so
Um,
that came in and paid for school.
yeah.
My enlistment pay at the time, the sergeant's pay paid for my house and all of that. I couldn't double dip. I didn't get 2 BAHs for the GI Bill and the
Yeah.
one for though I was already getting, but that's how I got into a degree plan. I was in an applied sciences, a bachelor's
Okay.
degree.
So
Sorry.
then, how do you? I've always been curious. Like maybe some people don't know who are thinking about maybe they're active duty and they're enlisted and they want to go and become an officer. How do you get into whatever career field it is that you went into as an officer?
Yeah, so there's different ways. That's an excellent question actually, because I've seen people who turn down commissions or enlisted because of certain pathways that you do, right? So they have one called OCS, which is Officer Candidate School.
Yeah.
And it's basically like if you're, even out of the military, you can join this way, but they still, my bunkmate was doing this, but they still required him to go to basic training, enlisted before he pinned officer, and then he had to go to OBS or something. But I had an NCO that I met when I was putting my green to gold packet together while I was at USAMR, an infectious research of infectious disease organization the Army has in Maryland, a really cool place. But he was putting his packet in OCS, but they don't tell you what branch you get in OCS until after you've been accepted.
Oh,
So they give you your acceptance with the branch, and you get a chance to defer it 1 year. So you can say, I don't want to be that branch, and you can apply again the next year. But if you don't accept it a second year, you're no longer able to apply. And I knew this because there was this PT stud, this guy that was really good at PT. I can't remember his name, that worked there, and he had applied and he got accepted, but it was infantry. He got picked up for infantry, and he was kind of an older dude. He's like, I can't do a ruck. I can't go back to rucking and doing that. So he declined it. So OCS is one way. Green to gold is the same way, and that's sort of a general pipeline. You can do active duty like I did. You can be like one of my buddies, Micah Peters, who is about to get out as a captain or a major. No, he's about to be a major. I think he might have made major. No, he is a major. But he went the same way I did, but they put him in reserve. He was a national. He didn't get approved for active duty, but he got approved for guard or reserve. So he got out. He was attached to like a reserve unit, and he paid his own way through his GI Bill and had to figure it out. But he managed to get it done. And so those are the major paths. Right now, the only other way to get in is a specialty, right? So if you're a surgeon, so I met when I became an officer. I met this guy first day in your OBC. We're at Fort Sam Houston because I was a med services officer.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting in formation. There's a guy next to me. His boots are completely unbloused. Right? If you don't know, in the military, like your boots being unbloused means like your pants and your pants are all untucked. They're outside. They're supposed to be tucked into your boots, nice and clean. Your laces nice and tied. Or you can have the boot under the cuffs. You can cuff it if you have boot blousers.
Yeah.
Right.
AKA lower leg injury makers. I hated those things, man. I think I have scars from them.
And they disappear. I don't know where they go. But he was sitting there next to me, and his pants were all hanging out, and his boots were untied, and his arms were kind of, his hat was a little weird. And I was enlisted. I was prior enlisted. And so now I'm an officer at Butter Bar, but still I've been to combat a few times. So I part of the reason they put you in this program is to police your battle buddies and stuff, and just be the positive influence. And so I was like, hey, they can fix you fix your pants, you bought your boots, and he looked over. He was in a conversation. He kind of looked over me and nodded. Yeah, went back to talking, and I was like, "Hey, sir, can you fix your boots?" I said, "Can you fix your?" And he turns around. He's like, "I'm sorry, I missed that." And it was a major. It was a major. It was a and I was like, "Oh shit." And ended up being this really cool dude. We got along really great. But it was a major who had joined during like 9/11, and he was a heart surgeon. And he went to like school in like UCLA, but there was some program that he got into where he just went straight in and was working at a military hospital.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until he was up for field grade that he required him to go to basic officer leader course because he'd never been. So he'd never even been to the basic course. He's a great dude. He went while he was at Fort Sam. He broke the pull-up and bench press record there. They have like a standing record in the gym.
Oh
he
broke
both of them. And this guy, he was old. He's a major. He was like older at this point.
He's an old guy.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Nice.
Doug Shannon.
He said he's in San Antonio too? No, I didn't know if he was in have to go back and read that.
Y'all probably gonna have to go get coffee or something.
Yeah, right. But no, so those are the main ways, right? You can get a direct commission if you have a specialty, like you're a lawyer or a medical professional, or you can be enlisted and go through with the green to gold programs, or if you can get your degree on the side, there's also direct commissioning, right? So
oh man.
Yep.
So then, how long did you serve as an officer?
Just one duty station. So it was like 3-4 years, one assignment.
Wow.
Yep,
all the moving was when you're enlisted.
Yeah, it was.
Oh,
yes.
That's crazy. I was thinking it was when you were an officer.
Nah, so I went to Korea, and then we were one of the first units to deploy from Korea. So I went from Korea to Fallujah, Iraq. And then instead of redeploying back to Korea, we deployed to Fort Carson. So I was at Fort Carson for less than 4 months. And then Fort Carson, I got deployed. I moved to PCS to Georgia, Augusta, Georgia. Mm-hmm. And then from there, I was there 6 months and we deployed again, 15-month deployment. And that's when I re-enlisted. So I came back and then I reclassed, right? I moved into that's why ended up at the research facility. I reclassed from signal and communications, and I went and became a 68 kilo, which is a medical laboratory technician.
Oh, wow.
I wanted a really cool, easy, chill job. I wanted a chill job, and what I needed was an MOS that once I was done, it gave me an associate's degree because I needed that as a requirement to apply to the Green to Gold program. So I looked across the different MOSs that the Army had. And I said, which one of these gives me an associate's degree, or is at least, close right to a rock and finish it? And so the 68 kilo was the program. And so I re-enlisted while I was stop loss. They also gave me a nice $25,000 tax-free bonus, which, Jody stole from me.
Yeah.
And so we won't, we won't go to that discussion. But, I reclassed, got this change of pace, and I went to school. The program was incredibly competitive. I think it had a 70% attrition rate. It was literally an associate's degree crammed into 6 months. That's what it is. That's what it is.
Yeah.
The number of packets that you're going through and you're reading, and I'm not talking about like some military stuff. You're a medical laboratory technologist, so you're taking microbiology, hematology, blood bank chemistry, organic chemistry, and you're taking these going through these chapters, and you're going through 6-7 manuals, in a day. The next day, you're starting the next 6 and 7 manuals while you're getting tested on the other previous 6. So you had to do this weird data learn, but you can't dump it, but you got to still stack more information on it.
Crazy.
And 70% attrition rate. It was insane, but it was cool. It was really cool program at the end of the day. And then I ended up going to the USAMRID. That was my first duty station. But again, the whole time I was like green to gold. So I showed up to USAMRID, which is in Frederick, Maryland. That stands for United States Army Medical Research of Infectious Disease. And it's like it's the same as like the CDC lab. It's like one of the 2 or 3 few bio level 4 laboratory safety lab for research there is in the country. And so I got stationed there, and like my first, I think, month there, I went and I met the commander, and she was doing introductions because I hadn't just got to the unit. And I said, "Hey, ma'am, just so you know, I'm gonna be back here in a year. asking for a recommendation because I'm applying to Green to Gold. It's the whole reason I reclass. So I'm letting you know now, so you can, make sure you keep a side eye on me, please. I'm just asking. So I get a genuine evaluation, a genuine recommendation one way or the other. And, I went there, and part of my language, I just handled my stuff, handle my crap.
Yeah.
So, I got it done, and she wrote an excellent one, and I dropped the Green to Gold packet. I know I skipped that. I forgot how did I get to the degree, but so that's why I picked that degree and chose that career path.
Yeah. If you could sum up why you chose not to do another commitment as an officer, what would it be?
Oh no, that's super simple. That's my wife and the beautiful life that I have now. So I'm not gonna share too much, but my wife is active duty military still. She got on. I met her while I was at UTSA going through the Green and Gold program. She's an incredible person, and to be honest, I sound like I might be decent at the military, but she puts me to shame. Right? She's amazing. Yeah, she's a major. She's big time doing it. So that's why I was at a great point, right? I was here at UT. I was here in San Antonio, just finishing my first my requirement for the Green to Gold program, and I saw how difficult it was for her to kind of get a decent job. And I was thinking, like, first of all, I knew I didn't want to do dual military. I was like, I'm not gonna. I see a lot of people can do that successfully. I didn't want to do it. I don't want to do it. Yeah. And so I made the decision, like, hey, I'm at 10 years now. Now it's sort of like that decision point, right? I'm at the halfway point. It's still pretty early. I could get out and try to forge a career. And I felt at that point that was like, I was enlisted. I got Green to Gold. I was an officer. I got a pretty decent profile. I was thinking, I got a degree. I should be, the job should be flowing. That's what I was thinking, right? So I felt with my girlfriend at the time, it would have been much easier. And she really wanted to do the military, for her to go and do that and me to find a job as a civilian, than her try to find a job as a civilian and follow me around. So I made that choice, and I'm happy I did it. I'm very happy now. But the transition to the civilian side was hell.
Hell. Yeah, rocky.
So,
huh?
Very bad.
What was your strategy? So you had built out this strategy to go Green to Gold, right?
Yeah.
But what kind of did you have the same like mindset for strategy for transitioning to the civilian world? I know that like for me, I had a strategy, but I was like up against the clock and I felt so much pressure. It was crazy.
Dude, I feel you on that. It's like you can hear the time ticking away, right?
Yeah.
And I don't care if you start planning like a year out, 18 months out, 2 years out, the time goes by so quickly, right? And so I had a strategy in place. I had a couple of strategies, right? I don't want to put all my eggs into one basket. So I had a couple of strategies, but as they say, man, a strategy is good until you get punched in the mouth, right? You know what I'm saying? Right? Yeah. So that's I had a strategy, but it didn't work. It didn't work. It probably could have did something. I probably could have had a positive outcome, but it didn't matter. It didn't work for me. No. So, it was, and I'd be happy to indulge and share more if you had any specific questions. I wasn't sure if you had a follow on. I don't want to dive into the meat and potatoes.
No, I saw that. Okay, so in a lot of people's like transition story, there's something that's between like their last job in the military and then like their chosen career path, right?
Yep.
I myself didn't really have that, but I did have 6 months to sit on my butt going, wow, I'm not getting a job. This is crazy. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
And sometimes in that period, it's people just sitting down, taking time to spend time with their family because they hadn't seen their family really. Sometimes it's people going to school. Other times it's like, hey, I knew a guy who was a captain, and then like he couldn't find a job, and then he was a barista,
Hmm.
and then he went and he found something else,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So I saw UPS on yours.
Yeah.
So how? So was that your? Was
Yeah.
that
So
the?
that's the crazy, the one of the crazy journeys, right? So as I said, I had a strategy. And I had applied to hundreds. I know it's probably thousands, right? I'm probably shortchanging. I had applied to thousands of positions, and I was in San Antonio, so there are a lot of roles. And I got maybe a couple hundred interviews, and everybody loved me, right? They said, "Oh man, you got such a great personality," and they say you interview so well. I would love to hire you. And they said told me everything over the sun, but there was always some reason, right? I didn't have the right degree, I didn't have the right background, I didn't have the right experience, and so for 12 months, I watched my entire bank account deplete. I
Oh,
watched my
yeah.
entire bank account, all my savings that I had from my deployments and officer money, to slowly dwindle. And as I mentioned, I met my current wife, and she was in ROTC, so she was a full-time college student, right? We just got our own apartment, and I thought, I'd get a job in a year. I mean, it shouldn't be. I didn't even plan. I didn't think it would take that long. I thought it was 6 months. So we're inviting family over, right? And I still can't get a job. I'm trying, max out the credit cards, and I'm on the verge of literally like I can't pay rent, right? I don't have $1 to pay rent. And I got an opportunity. Finally, it was like, dude, take a job or you're gonna be homeless. And so there was an opportunity given to me by a person who owned a franchise of UPS stores. It
Okay.
was
Yeah.
here in San Antonio, and he said, "Hey, man, I'll give you a shot unless you run one of my retail stores." And man, dude, I talk about being on your feet like all day, like all day.
Oh
And
yeah.
so, like, that was an interesting experience. I was there for a few months, um, and I just was able to like scrape by. I think like literally after the paycheck came in, I had enough for rent and my car payment, but not enough for anything else. Like my
Wow.
girlfriend had to cover like the electric. Um, but like within 3 months, I got an opportunity to work at a customization department for a company that's out of business now. They had to shut their doors. But I was able to kind of to work as like a department manager, and I sort of worked in technology, but it was sort of a side gig. It wasn't really like
Mhm,
IT. I worked
mhm.
sort of like running like small projects. I did that for about 6 months. I thought I was like, yeah, finally got on my feet, right? I finally got on my
Mhm.
feet after almost being homeless, finally starting to get situated, and the company filed for bankruptcy.
Oh.
And they let us go. And I was thinking, like, man, I remember calling my girlfriend to come pick me up because it was somewhere where they announced it, where I was at one of their warehouses, and I got a ride to go to another corporate building where they announced it. I'm in shock. So I call her, she comes and picks me up, and I'm thinking, man, I just, I paid off all my debt, had a loan that maybe I'd taken off, I paid off, and all the deferred payments when I couldn't get a job, caught
Mm.
those up. Um, and so I was like, dude, you know how long it took me to get, it took me basically like a year and a half to get a real job, and now I'm done
Yeah.
again. Uh, and so I found a opportunity open at
Mhm.
USAA for a
You
business
so,
analyst role. And I was like, USAA, I know USAA, I was military, I had the account. And
yeah.
I had just nailed the interview, right? I prepped for it, got really super focused. Again, all these plans came out, and my entire career is based off turned out to be one interview. So, took the interview, landed the job at USAA. I got put on a team that did sort of like they did like outsourcing projects. I'm not gonna like sauce it up. They would do like BPO work, so it was work that
Mm.
USAA would kind of project and send to offshore somewhere, India, Philippines, wherever they would do it.
Yeah.
Right? It's just some very, very boring, monotonous work that people don't want to be doing. Right? Reading inboxes and then organizing and sending emails somewhere. But
Gosh.
anyway, we found out that we could use technology to do some of that stuff,
Mhm.
like macros and stuff like that. And they had some software called RPA software. And so what was happening was I was on this sort of new and budding team, and then the guy with USAA was about to retire. VP was about to retire, been there like 20, 30 years. And he said, I got these 20 business processes I want you guys to look at because I heard you guys do automation. And basically out of those 20, I think we automated 13 of those business processes in like the first 6 months. And one of those processes was a flood claims process that's handled by FEMA, right? So
Yeah.
without giving anybody big breakdown of the insurance world, right? I'm sure you're familiar. It's
I am.
everybody's flood claims get processed through the federal government, no matter whose
Yep.
insurance you use, it goes through FEMA. And so USA's process was highly manual, and it's not like there's floods every day. So it's like annualized volume, right? When April comes, the floods come, then the volume spikes.
Yeah.
And I think it was like in 2014 or 2015, there was a big flood in Houston.
Mhm.
And we had built an automation to handle the flood claims processes and completely nailed it and had some crazy accuracy rate. But the end goal of that entire project was that people impacted by floods got their flood claims checks on average 2 weeks sooner than they had
Nice.
with the old process. And
Yeah.
so if you're
Nice.
impacted by floods, right, there's nothing greater than, getting
Oh,
a
yeah.
check to try to
Yeah.
get you something.
Kind
to see.
of an aside with that. Like I
Yeah.
used to work at an auto insurance company, right?
Yeah.
And I did a lot of the compliance and regulatory reporting.
Mm.
And so I never knew, like when I watched the news before, if there was some natural disasters, like how did they know how much money, how much like damage or
Damage.
whatever.
Yeah.
And so I tell people now, it's like, hey, I used to do this. I used to have to deliver this. Like, how many policyholders in the affected area?
Yeah.
How many claims? How much money is set for reserve for those claims? How much has been paid out?
So you know
and
about
all
the
that.
terms
So
of the
that-
reserves.
yeah.
Yeah, I remember all
And
those
then-
terms. One of
Yeah.
our sub processes was reserves updates.
Yeah.
Like we had a bot that did it, and based off the policy of the reserves, and did it meet? Was it above? Did it exceed the reserves? And
Right.
we had to pull it from the
Exactly.
website. That's crazy. That's
Exactly.
crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we'd get from the state, we would get this locked down Excel spreadsheet. Like you couldn't click a cell outside the cells that were sent to you that you could fill in.
Yeah.
And it used to be one person who was like doing all the calculations and like trying to do this. And I was like, it was handed to me when a guy left, and I had been using Alteryx for like 3 or 4 years. And so then I'm like, dude, let's do this. And so
Yeah.
it went from this super long process to like, boom, done. Right.
Yeah. No, we ended up when we automated that solution, that flood claim. After that flood claim, we ended up winning an innovation award
Nice.
from USAA. And that sort of like set it off in my brain. I was like, there's something with this technology that we're doing, the stuff that we're doing. We went on to do a couple of other projects. And there was one that we did. We went in, I'll never forget it. We went in on a Friday, and it was a group in the banking department at USAA. By the way, like if you guys ever get a chance to work at USAA, I highly recommend taking an opportunity. The campus is beautiful. But anyway, we went to meet with bank, and they had this issue where you reconcile credit card payments. And if you paid on your Amex with a MasterCard, I'm just giving a rough scenario here, then it would cause a mismatch and there'd be an issue. A long story short, they told us about the problem on Friday. We went back and looked at it. By Wednesday, I think the next week, we had a solution in production that was cleaning out like a $2 million backlog. It's like 1.7 million backlog that they had.
Nice.
It was done like in a day or two. So we were able to just go in and save almost 2 million, right? I absolutely knew there was going to be something to this. And so I had another gig. I left USA after a couple of years, went and worked at a company called SWBC with my mentor, the guy that hired me at USAA. And that was really great. I did that for about 3 to 5 years. But this is where I started like networking, kind of like what, we're doing here. I met some of the people that that's where I met Frank. I was speaking at an event about some of the projects we did at SWBC. And after that, I got contacted by a group that said, hey, we're writing a book and we want to interview you.
Oh, nice.
Okay, cool. My head's real big. I feel like I got an ego, so sign me up, right? So they contacted me, and they were interviewing me, and they're asking me questions, and at the end of the interview, I think I'm, I'm saucing up myself like a automation superhero. At the end of the interview, they tell me, they're like, actually, we just, the book thing was a front. We're not writing a book. We're launching our own startup. And
Oh,
we wanted to, we're interviewing, we've already interviewed the top 100 automation professionals in this RPA space. And it was backed by people who had already built a couple of successful startups. And they said, we love you. We'd love to, invite you out to San Francisco and
did you
attend to
say
some of the
no? No,
events.
thank you. I don't like liars.
Yeah, I know, right? That's what I should have said. I was like, "You're not writing a book. I'm out of here. I'm out of here. I want the royalties." But now it's crazy, right? You never know, what kind of thing you're getting invited to in life, right? Or who's
Yeah.
who's ringing your phone.
Yeah.
So I ended up.
Crazy.
That was a weird side journey where I left and started working. I launched my own startup with 5 other people out of a WeWorks office in like Florida. And grew it to over 120 employees. We won a Global Innovation Award for automation our first year.
Wow.
From UiPath, which is a publicly traded software company. And then we ended up selling it in year 2 or 3. It was like a grow and then pitch. We were looking at PEs to take over. And so we ended up finding a large implementer, a GSI out of Europe called RoboYo. You see them on socials and stuff, but they do intelligent automation. So yeah, I did that. And after that sell, took a couple of years off. I was in Washington State, kind of was like, what am I going to do? I'm going to go out and explore, but no, it's COVID. So there's nothing to do.
Oh,
the whole world was shut down. So I was like, what are we going to do? I went stir crazy after about a year. And then I joined another startup. It's pretty fun. I did that for another 2 years. Left with some solid equity in the organization. They're doing big and wonderful things in SAP. If you're familiar with SAP ecosystem. Yeah. But while I was there, I found an opportunity and an opening here at Southern Glazers, which is where I'm currently at, and I've been for 3 years. And it was the people that work at this organization. If you're not familiar with Southern Glazers, it's they deal in wine and spirits distribution. They're one of the largest privately held companies in the United States, like top 10. They do 20 to 40 billion in sales every year in revenue. So very large. Yeah, very large organization. And I met them. They had incredible leaders at the time, and I joined about 3 years ago to lead their automation program. So they have a pretty good program, do a couple million in savings annually. But I've been in this space since I got that first USAA job working those flood claims. And I've been working that space about 10 years.
Wow, that's nuts, man. That's cool. Yeah, I love automation. It's like, you read my LinkedIn profile. I love automation. I just there were times where like in my first analytics job, was my last job in the Air Force, and there were times where I'm like, why do we do this? Why do we do it like this? Is there a better way to do it? Absolutely, there's a better way to do it. And it's like, and it shouldn't take months or weeks or whatever it is. It could take seconds or minutes in some cases, depending on like how many millions or hundreds of millions of records you're doing while you're passing through it. It might be an hour or so more.
Oh yeah. I mean, we even our footprint, right? We'll get into the details, but hundreds of thousands of transactions. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking like daily. You could do. It's all about like what you're trying to get accomplished, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
The space is evolving quickly too. I highly recommend it. Right, I've helped a lot of vets transition into this space. Right, I've even hired a few and put them in opportunities like in analyst roles. So they get experience in this growing field. I know a lot of people are worried about AI taking their job and stuff, right? So it's a thought. Can't take your job if you're the one building the AI. Right?
Yeah, exactly. So if there's somebody who will come to you or who's watching right now or who might watch later, who knows, who is thinking about getting out of the military, What is one piece of advice that you would give to them?
Can I give you two? Can I give you
Do it.
two?
Do it.
The first one I'm going to start with is something that you may encounter, and I want to share that now. The first one is don't ever doubt your service. Okay, don't ever doubt the impact that your service has. It might not be something that pops up right away, right? The people might not recognize you or give you a lot of opportunities for it, but I would say do not devalue your service. I had that thought right when I was really struggling to find jobs or opportunities, when I was getting a lot of no's and people weren't giving me jobs. It was really easy for me to look back at my military experience and say, what value was it, right? Like, what good was it for me to take this path if this is what it led to, right? I'm about to live in my car, about to lose the woman of my dreams. I can't even support her while she's in college. You know what I'm saying? So like, don't devalue your service. That's one piece of advice. And the next one I'd say that your show is a demonstration of this, right? And that is, look for different paths. Okay. Things change, right? Things change in life. If just because you want to do job A isn't open, find a side avenue to get in and be flexible, right? So that's it. Look at different paths, right? Be flexible because, like I said, you're gonna get punched in the mouth. It might not be an easy transition. If you expect that it's gonna be smooth, like I did, it makes it worse, right? When things aren't smooth, start second guessing it. Yeah,
definitely. I'm gonna put that stuff in the chat, and so it'll be there forever or until
nice. Beautiful. That's what I think. I had a real tough transition, so I can relate to somebody who might not be, achieving the goals they want to achieve, trying to get out.
I'm gonna credit it to Jeremy Gilliland.
Oh my god!
Let's see. Look for different paths. I'm one of those people who, when I'm typing, I'm like reading. And I remember taking the Tableau desktop specialist certification, and I was doing it at home. So then it's like proctored. Somebody's watching me on my camera. And I'm like reading, and I'm thinking. And all of a sudden somebody's like, please stop talking. I'm like, oh, sorry. And then I went back to read, and then I'm like reading out loud. They're like, you're doing it again. I'm like, I'm sorry. That's how I process.
Yeah, I know. Same. I have to vocalize. No, I feel you.
All right, be flexible.
But yeah, no, I didn't. I was determined to get into IT one way or the other, and found a side path through RPA.
Yeah, RPA. So if anybody's out there going, what is that? Robotic process automation. I have more recently started using Power Platform.
Yep.
And
it's an example.
Man,
example.
Oh, I was handed a whole bunch of Excel reports. Hey, refresh these, every Monday, every Tuesday, whatever. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to make something refresh it, and it ain't going to be me.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Automate it, whatever. So my brother-in-law, I remember, was telling me about this field marshal's guide, and it was like, you have different types of soldiers or different types of people, right? Different types of workers. And it was like the smart and lazy, or you have the I can't remember all of them. I just know I'm like, oh, that's me. I'm smart and lazy. Like, I don't want to do all these menial tasks and all these things. It requires so much attention, and so much there could be so many accuracy issues if I'm just doing it manually.
Yeah.
So I was trying to find a way to automate things. That's just the way that my brain works. And so when it was I have the opportunity to learn a different platform to automate something, let's do it. Because I'm not going to be the one pointing and clicking for the rest of my life. I'm going to point and click for however many hours it takes for me to build the flow, and then automate it. And then boom, there it goes,
Not for sure. No, I highly recommend too, anybody in the space, or if you're trying to get into the IT industry or the technology space and you don't have an avenue, if you can learn something like the Power Automate, you can find opportunity. If you're willing to get yourself, your hands dirty and pull out and start building weird, you can find YouTube videos of Power Automate flows all day and try to go build them, right?
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, and it's like it's a skill set it's going to be around for years, right? That's the new, like I tell people, like it's going to be like the new Excel, right? And a new Word, that's going to be what we're using.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's still a great field to be doing that.
Yeah, I think because it's so integrated, all the Microsoft products, right?
Mhm.
It's like I have one buddy of mine is like, oh, every time somebody like sends me, if this certain person sends me a message with like this stuff, and then it like kicks off a flow to do something, and
Yep.
it's like, oh, that's interesting, or like get an email, and then it's like, okay, then it kicks off like all these flows. So,
Oh yeah, it's getting good too with like Copilot integration and things that you can do. Right, I leverage UiPath. That's the software that we leverage at Southern Glazers. I think it's the top automation platform there is,
Yeah.
and their Maestro agent orchestration platform, if you will. I know it just set a record doing human related tasks, and the mimicking humans in AI on one of those world leaderboards, beating Claude and some other models. So yeah, it's definitely skills worth learning, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's Power Automate, Microsoft's not going anywhere, right? Microsoft's not going anywhere. Learning Power, the Power Platform, all of that stuff is going to be a skill that stays around and stays usable, something you put on your resume, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah. Cool. Well, you know what? Sometimes I have guests where I'm trying to pull information out of them to try to get us to at least like 35 minutes. You are not one of those guests.
No, I'm glad. Oh yeah. I got billions of stories to tell. I tell you what, I've seen a lot of stuff. I got, we'll have to save it for another time, but just as a teaser, I got, maybe I'll come back at the end of the year, invite myself to be a guest if you need a spot.
Do it, man. You still have the link.
And but I was able to get AFES to reduce prices for beers across the posts in the US. So didn't win an innovation award, but still got to do some cool projects for AFES nonetheless. So
wow.
A lot of cool stories to tell. I got according to Uber drivers, they're great. That's what
Yeah.
The trips I've taken. Maybe they were working on a tip. I don't know. But
oh man. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and end the live stream, but don't go anywhere because I still want to talk to you in the studio.
Yep.
But everybody else, we're gonna be out next Monday, but we'll be back in 2 weeks. And man, I did it again. I didn't look who is my guest. I think it's no. You know what? I'm gonna go look at it. Give me one second.
There you go. You need a co-pilot. You need a co-pilot, and you have a catchphrase, and it'll listen to your microphone and wait for you to say, "Am I next guest?" And it'll pop up on the side.
Oh yeah, I do need to do that. Okay, my next guest, season 3. Guest number 2. I knew it. I should have just said it. It's Ed Bradley.
Ed Bradley.
Nice.
Beautiful.
Retired chief master sergeant. He was in the Air Force, and so he used to come into my office all the time. We were stationed together at Keesler Air Force Base in Biloxi, Mississippi. He used to come into my office, and we just talked so much NFL trash because he's an Eagles fan. I would say something bad about the Eagles. They got busted out of the playoffs, but I'm a Falcons fan, which comes with its own heartbreak.
Who are they?
Exactly. Oh my gosh, so terrible. But I remember him coming into the office, and as soon as I saw his face, we just started going at it, like talking trash. And then like 5 minutes later, he's like, wait. He's like, I actually came in here to give you information, like to be a chief, right? And I was like, oh, right, chief. Go ahead.
I forgot we had something to talk about.
It's so funny.
That's classic.
But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and kill the stream. But hey, everybody, thanks for tuning in. Thanks everybody for y'all who added to the chat. Really appreciate that. You guys have a good week. See you in 2. Peace.